All right, hello everyone. It's Raleigh, and a welcome. So, as I said yesterday during my stream, I guess we all knew that there was like a studio update coming, right? So, or I was at least hoping for one, right? And funnily enough, last night, right as I got off of the stream, I happened to just open my phone and go on Reddit, and like someone had posted, like, oh, they posted it. So ArenaNet has this thing where they accidentally post all of their like news the day before and then delete it all. So that's what happened last night. So there was like they had posted the studio update and immediately deleted it, and they had posted something on, I think it was like Instagram about it, and they had to delete that post. And ArenaNet always does that, and it's really funny to me because I feel like I would be doing the same thing, but again, I'm not a company. I'm one single entity doing this, so I don't know. But it was really funny because I was like, oh yeah, we're getting a studio update, right? Like it was kind of like a confirmation of that. But anyways, so we're here today to kind of talk about if you guys don't know my channel, we talk about lore here mostly. Mostly the lore, story, characters, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what we're looking for. But we have a studio update. I kind of just took like a little look at the studio post. There's actually something about World vs. World, something rewards. I just kind of, like I said, I just kind of skimmed through the thing to see what we're actually talking about. And then we have a new roadmap at the very end as well, which is really, really cool. So we're gonna get a lot of different news, a lot of different things happening. Repentance is the new update that's coming out next week. Yeah, and we're like, I'm super excited, right? We've been talking a lot about the lore, because it's very lore heavy. There's a lot of things with this release that are going to be very, like, this is like old stuff from like 20 years ago, right? Like Bavanisos, I showed you guys, like, Bavanisos pretty much was in the story before Guild Wars 1 even came out, right? Like, we're finding out all these things, right? We're tackling Mersad, we're tackling Titans. Is the Scepter of Ore coming back? There's so many things that we're looking for, right? Like, is there some White Mantle remnants, right? I kind of talked about that last night. So there's a lot of things that we're like, I'm kind of looking for, and I hope you guys are too. So we kind of have to pay attention to see really what they're getting into, what they're kind of doing here. But yeah, so let's look through the studio update, watch the trailer for Repentance. Talk about World vs. World a little bit. Again, I do World vs. World pretty casually. I do have like, I'm like rank 1300 or something, so I have played my fair share of World vs. World. So I don't know too much, but I'll give you a little bit of insight what I think as like a casual World vs. World player and stuff. And yeah, we'll go from there. And then just so you guys know, I'll be streaming tonight, so if you guys like, I'll be uploading this. I didn't realize, like, usually they put these updates, these studio updates and stuff, these posts, usually around noon, and I was still in bed at like 11, and I'm like just scrolling through like whatever, and all of a sudden there's like, oh, studio update. I'm like, oh my god. So I got up, took a shower. I'm like, trying to like get ready to record this. So I'll be uploading this as soon as I can, and then later on tonight I'll be streaming, and we can kind of talk about it. I kind of said yesterday I'll do like a random stream where I kind of just hang out, nothing specific that I want to do, just so that I can sit there and kind of concentrate on talking to you guys and draw on the map and show you guys the things and blah blah blah. So anyways, so let's get into it. By the way, the trash collectors are driving around the neighborhood, and their truck is really loud. So if you hear that, if you hear some in the background, that's what that is. So, all right, let's pull it up here. One thing I want to do real quick. Okay, you guys can't see that, but I wanted to change that. All right, so we have the studio update. Repentance is coming to Guild Wars 2. Sounds kind of ominous a little. We're thrilled to share details about the next update for Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds, Repentance, launching on March 11. This chapter brings new trials and discoveries to Tyria, including a new map, Mistburnt Barrens, a land where strange forces stir and long-buried Mersad secrets begin to surface. Love this. Love this. Oh, yay. So excited. Prepare for battles that will challenge even the most seasoned adventurers. Oh, right. We do have the challenge mode is coming out, right? I think they're going to probably talk about that a little bit, which is kind of exciting. It's exciting. I know a lot of people, like, it brings the reason why I love those, like the challenge mode and legendary challenge mode and all these things coming out, is because it brings the community together, right? Like, so many people get hyped for like who's gonna be the first guild to get this and da 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 da. And it's like really interesting. Not that I ever watch it, but I'm one of those people that like anything that furthers, you know, growth for the Guild Wars community and togetherness and like, you know, like we know that ArenaNet isn't the best at marketing the game, so that's kind of the way that we market it, right? Like if we as an entire community get excited over one thing and we all share it with other people, that kind of brings in people maybe a little bit to kind of, you know, like even hardcore, because I think a lot of people stay away from Guild Wars 2 because they think it's a very casual game, but there are some hardcore challenges that you can do in the game, whether it's solo or with a group. Like there's a lot of things that you can tackle in the game to give yourself a really good challenge, you know? So, but anyways, prepare blah, 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 along with a host of other exciting updates. Let's dive in, shall we? All right, let's watch the trailer, you guys. We're seeing, this is not Maban. This is Maban. Maban is in the background. This is not Maban, unless this is like a recolored Maban. But that looks like Maban. There's no wings. What's going on? Where are the Mersat wings? All right. So, and to kind of talk about a little bit about the predictions that I've had, right? Like, we saw, because someone asked me last night, they were like, do you think we're going to see Mersat? And I kind of gave a two-folded answer there, because I said, well, here's what it's just, when I do full screen sometimes, it doesn't do a full screen. And I was like seeing stuff on the side. I was like, what's going on? So the thing is, I kind of gave like two separate answers. Because I was like, here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I wish for it to happen, right? Like, it's like my first answer, or I guess I gave that second answer last night, but you know, is a little bit more grounded and a little bit more realistic, where I think, like, you know, I was like, because the thing is, when we looked at the blog post last week, right, there was one of the first pictures was the single Mersat that we saw floating there, and I was like, that's definitely not Maban. Like, that doesn't look like Maban. So the idea is, like, my idea was that there's one single Mersat that we're gonna see at least, and whether or not this Mersat is the cause of the Titans coming, or like anything like that, we don't know, right? We don't really know, but the idea is still there. Like, you know, the single Mersat seemed to, like, they kind of seem to hint at like one single Mersat that we're gonna meet. And now it looks like it again, because like I said, there's Maban. It looks like Maban in the background. He's kind of faded out, and I don't know if this is the Wizard's Tower above Anisa's in the background, but it looks like there's someone else in the front. So these are the different languages. I was like, what does that say? It's a different language. It's probably French right there. So, anyways, let's watch this. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but we'll see. Should be loud enough. Hold on. They never do it. They do it auto. I want it highest quality. Okay, this is the. Anyways, we're gonna watch it and we'll talk about it. I don't know. I get excited. My people.
The city built in victory, but cursed by greed. How the mighty have fallen.
Behind every corner we wait. From shadow we watch. This is who you bring into battle, Iskarin.
What is... Do you get anything else? No, they do like 20 seconds of just stuff. Okay, so interesting. So first of all, I want to talk about the voice in the background. It sounds like... So here's my opinion. Whoever is talking to the background, that like raspy, like female voice that we have in the background, female sounding voice, sounds to me like that's going to be the big bad. But I don't think we see her in the trailer, because it sounds to me like that's like a, let's, let's kind of listen again. I want to watch the trailer again, and I want to just listen to the sound again one more time.
Bavanisos. My people. The city built in victory, but cursed by greed. How the mighty have fallen.
That was its Garen, obviously.
Behind every
There.
corner we wait. From shadow we watch. This is who you bring into battle, Iskarin.
It's strange because they're showing a seer here. And I don't know if that's like, you know, at the end of the Seer Wars or something, like that's one of those seers, because I don't, this is who you bring into battle, Askarn. We wait. So, because they talk about the Shadowcraft, and they talk about like how they go out, you know, they into the Valley of Shadows, a legacy damned, penance for the past, are the 3 story chapters. It's so interesting because I can't quite figure out if it's, I was thinking, my very first thought was that it was a seer that had turned evil, that is kind of like living in Bavanisos. But I don't know. It could be, I have a feeling it's either Mossad or seer that's fighting us. Someone that knows Isgarin, clearly, which is very interesting because Isgarin hasn't really let on that he would know anyone. He hasn't really let on that there would be someone else behind all of this that he knows. I'm kind of going through like some of the dialogue, unless he's like really like given a really small hint that I missed. But that's interesting. Okay, so voiceover, very cryptic. I don't think we can really discern much from it, but if you guys have any like specific ideas, I would love to hear them. But let's kind of go through what we actually see in the trailer, because that's, you know, more clear cut and we can kind of see. So obviously this is Bavanisos. So Bavanisos, the one description, the very first description that we ever got was before Guild Wars 1 returned. If you guys haven't watched my video from last week, I'm going to give you guys a short breakdown. So apparently, the way that it happened was that Saul D'Alessio, he was exiled for being a thief and gambler and losing money and owing money and blah, 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 all these things, right? And a drunk, blah, blah, blah. So he gets rode out for 2 weeks into the forest, or I think it was like 2 weeks, into the forest. And then he's blindfolded, so he didn't know where they were riding to. And then he was left out there, and they rode back, and he was all alone in the forest. And then he walked around for 3 days, hungry, starving, didn't know, like, whatever. And on the 4th day, he came out of the forest, and all of a sudden, there was like a city in front of him. And it was these towers that were reaching into the heavens, and they were made out of alabaster, and they had golden filigree, and that's where the Mossad lived, and that was Bavanisos. So that was the one description that we got way early on. Obviously, we've heard a little bit of things here and there about Bavanisos now, you know, in the content releases now, but that was a very early description. So we can kind of see that, right? We can kind of see there's a big towers that go. Obviously, this is like, you know, when that city was destroyed 250 years ago, right? Like 200 and how many, like, it was only a couple of years before the start of Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars 1 that Saul D'Alessio was, you know, he had started the White Mantle, right? So 250, like a little over 250 years ago, this city was like grand and ooh, you know, and the Mossad lived there, right? And then it was destroyed. We do know also that the Mossad built it on top of where the Mossad and Seer wars ended, right? So it was like this almost like this victory thing, right? They were just like, okay, we're gonna build this monumental city as a sign of like, oh, we're the guys. And Ascarin kind of touches on that. He was just like, you know, it's built in victory, but then, you know, oh, how the mighty have fallen, you know, because he's such a D-bag. I'm not a fan of him, honestly. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. But anyways, so we see this. We see players on their sky scale kind of flying about. I'm gonna turn off the sound just so we don't have to like stop and we have like partially sound. So as I talk, I don't want people or that sounding over what I'm trying to say. All right, so we get the big city, big spires, big tall buildings, all in ruin, of course. After 250 years, nature kind of takes over. Again, I try to kind of talk about that a little bit on my channel, where one thing that I really appreciate about the Guild Wars universe and what ArenaNet does all the time is that they really know how to show the passage of time. And I always compared with like ESO and stuff, and how like in ESO many things don't change over 1,000 years, right? Because in ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, we see certain buildings and we see certain cities, and 1,000 years later when we play whatever release, right? Like Morrowind or Skyrim or whatever, right? Like it's happening, 1,000 years later. A lot of it looks exactly the same, like literally like building for building it looks the same, some cities, and that's kind of unrealistic in a world that's full of magic with different factions and wars going on. It's realistic when and I again I kind of compare it a little bit to like Lord of the Rings, right? Where Lord of the Rings, a lot of things don't, like specifically when we're talking about like the elven stuff, right? Like a lot of things don't change because they're like these immortal creatures, right? And whether or not they go to war and stuff like that, yes, sometimes their cities fall and stuff, but their like main cities and stuff for like hundreds of years don't change because they built it, and the elves are just kind of like indifferent to the passage of time, and they're just like whatever, right? But I feel like in a world like Elder Scrolls and Guild Wars, where there's technology and people are trying to like, you have engineers and you have like inventors and all these people that are trying to like further the world in different ways, and then other factions that are trying to like tear down the world, right? You have constant change, and we see it in our own world, right? But we don't even have magic, right? But in a world that's full of magic, there's so much more in the possibilities of things that they can do. So I really love the passage of time that we see, and we can see that this is obviously not the city from 250 years ago, right? It's in ruins, and that makes sense, right? It's like whether or not there was a ward over it, but still the Titans did come in here and destroy it, and nature kind of just started growing over it and stuff like that. So I really love this. This looks really great. So we get that shot. Then we get that this was the one of the, we see multiple of these. So we have these weird bloodstone shards. This is not the only one we see. Obviously, this is the analog for the commander. I think these are all analog for the commanders. I don't think these are any prominent characters that we have like in the story and stuff like that. But yeah, so we've seen this in the image that I talked about. It's like really cool from last week's blog post. There was a really cool concept art of this. So we see that. We see multiple. We see, this is really cool. We see the spirit of Mabon. It's actually talking to the commander, Waiting Sorrow, and Asgaran. And he talks about, oh, my city and stuff. This looks like as we approach it, as we go into it, maybe he contacts us from the mist or something, or maybe like this is like an echo of him. It's really cool to have him back, though. I miss Mabon. I really wish we had gotten more Mabon. I think he was like such a great, I don't know. I loved having the idea of like a Mersad that's trying to like repent for his people, right? Repentance being the thing, anyways. So, but he tried to like make up for the sins of his people and his own sins and stuff like that, and it was really cool to see a Mersad like that. So I'm kind of sad he's out of the story, but anyways. So he talks about my city, blah blah blah. So there it is. We kind of see the outside of it. Again, this is and I kind of talked about this a little bit when we first went into Janthir Sentry and stuff like that. I talked a little bit about Ura, and how my prediction before we saw Ura, obviously that didn't pan out the way that I thought it would be, because I thought she would be like a Bloodstone, whatever. But it seems to me, so I think ArenaNet is really showing a distinction here. So this is not Bloodstone, and I think I've kind of learned this now. I don't think this is Bloodstone. This is obviously the Jade that they use for the Jade armors. Just so you guys know, in Guild Wars 1, the the Mersat didn't just have jade armors that they use, but they also made their structures out of jade, right? We see that in Ember Bay, right? There's like these structures that are kind of built, but they're not, I don't, we see some of the, I think we see some of the towers that look like this, but they build like whole walls and structures out of this jade that are the same material that the jade armors are made out of, right? And I guess a couple of times I've kind of confused it with like Bloodstone when I talked about like Aura and stuff like that, but these are very distinctly different, and you can kind of see it in the way that they look, obviously, because you see this is Bloodstone. You can see with how red and shimmery and whatever it looks, right? But then this is like jade. So this is obviously the city that is reinforced by the Mersat with these the jade whatever structure and stuff like that. So but again, I really love tall maps like this. So it looks like, again, we get like a lot of like, you can go up here, right? Like up here, right? And then it goes like all the way down in there. So that's really, really cool. I love that a lot. We get a view inside. So we have a portal. This is obviously one of the Astroward portals. This seems to be the camp that we kind of saw. The statue is probably the statue that we saw in the concept art is probably around the corner over here somewhere. There's one of the Kodan hanging out. Some of the crates and stuff like that. So obviously this is our, I think this is the like right here, or like right here behind the camera is probably the waypoint to get into the city or something. Like I'm guessing that's where, because it kind of looks like that, right? Like having these little things hanging down, dangling and stuff is like very Kodan. So this is probably the entrance or exit. This might be the exit. They might be running out of the city, because it doesn't look like they're running into the city. It looks like they're running into forest. Kind of just deceiving us there a little bit, but yeah. So Asgarin kind of talks. Yeah, so we kind of see a little bit more of this. So you guys can kind of see the difference here, right? So this is the jade that I talk about. This is the bloodstone. Unless I'm mistaken again, because this looks like bloodstone. So that's kind of crazy that they have this like blend together so much. Like, because it's kind of weird. What do you guys think? Like, this is not bloodstone, right? This is like the same jade that they had for the structures and stuff that they used in like Guild Wars 1 and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look like bloodstone. That looks like different material. Unless they have like some kind of active jade that looks like more reddish or something, that's like powered up or something. I don't know. But that looks like bloodstone for sure. That looks like bloodstone to me. Like you can kind of see, it because these are bloodstone elementals, right? And so maybe there was like, they first reinforced it with the jade, and then they used the bloodstone as well, and they have it like, maybe because that again doesn't look like bloodstone, that looks like jade, and then we have bloodstone. So there seems to be a difference to the materials, but we have bloodstone elemental. We've seen those before, obviously. Encountered those many times. Yeah, this is really cool. Multi-level. This is very what does this remind me of? I can't think of the name. Arborstone. Reminds me of Arborstone. You know how it like goes way up high and you can kind of like go down, and it's like has all these like different levels and stuff. Yeah, that's what it kind of reminds me of. So sky skill, plushy sky skill. Someone on that looks like that's a yeah, these are war claws. So people on their war claws, and then people on their sky scales, kind of just jumping down, going to the lower level. So then we get these cool like spirits, right? These are like kind of the we've seen these spirits before. Whether or not, like, some people were kind of saying like maybe these aren't spirits, and I kind of agree with this. Maybe they're not spirits, but they're echoes, which is kind of like a different thing. But it's weird because some of these echoes we actually had a conversation with. Right, so it's kind of strange the way that they have some of this stuff, because we see some spirits of people that then appear at like a later point. Like, not to spoil too much, but again, in the core release of Janthir Wilds, we have the spirit of the Bog Queen that we actually see in Janthir's Sentry. You can actually see her spirit there, but then she appears in Lowland Shores as a boss, right? Like she's like this necromancer, like evil whatever, right? So it's kind of like is this like like an echo, or is this a spirit? Like, what's happening, right? Because she's still in existence on a different map, so it's kind of strange. But it looks like we have a different Mersat here that's like differently colored, which is kind of strange. Let's kind of look at what the animation there. This Mersat looks different. Doesn't that Mersat look different? And there's like a claw hand coming out. That might just like look like, and there's like some kind of explosion happening. Do you guys, yeah, so we have like this weird explosion happening, but they're all around. So is this the leader? Is this Optimus Caliph, or what's going on there? Are we like watching an event that happened in the past? Like, is this the some kind of battle that we're watching, or some kind of audience with someone or something? It's very interesting because there's more in the back, and there's a ton of them, which means that all these spirits, right? All like, all these spirits are going to be roaming these halls, and there's going to be ambient dialogue, right? Like, there's going to be ambient dialogue between these Mersat spirits, and we're going to find out, like, I feel like we're going to find out some really, really cool stuff from, like, the past and stuff. So we have that. Then we get these portals, right? So these were the mirrors that they talk about. Obviously, this doesn't look like anything like the mirror I talked about last week, but these are supposed to be these mirrors. Again, this looks like made out of jade. And this is the shadowcraft they talk about, right? And the like being able to teleport between different like, far distances really fast. And these are these Mersat mirrors that they use to teleport. So, and we can kind of see this in action. We've seen this animation before. We've seen this animation with like bloodstone elementals and stuff. Then we get this, which is very interesting. So it seems to be the commander using not the Heart of the Obscure, but some kind of power to subdue this huge jade armor right outside of Bavanissos. This is definitely outside. This could be the area that the group was running to, because there's all these trees and stuff out here. But what is this power that like that's being used here? It's very interesting to me. Like, are we using more counter magic, right? We learned in season 3 counter magic to counter the like spectral agony, or not spectral agony, but I don't know how the story goes, but it was like one of the shining blade that has kind of created this counter magic or whatever to the ancient magics, right? That was the whole line of the mastery line there. But that's really cool. Yeah, and that's definitely, so that's where they were running to, because you can see the little flags hanging down and stuff like that. So they definitely were running out this way. So we're getting a little bit of a layout of like how the map looks, which it looks really, really cool. I really like it a lot. Subduing the jade. There looks like there's a ton of jade elementals too. That are kind of been destroyed. We get a little bit more battle. Someone gliding down. I don't think we get anything. I don't think we get anything crazy in this shot, right? Like, it's so weird how like the plush mount skins, like, to me they're kind of like, when it comes to trailers like this, they're kind of immersion breaking a little bit, because I'm like, yeah, okay, we have this guy in here, seeing that in the middle of the battle. There's another one of those. This is probably the one that we saw the concept art of, which is like in the foresty area outside. And it looks like we have to escort Dolyaks, like, probably into the city, I'm guessing, to kind of build up. Is this a meta event, right? Are we watching parts of the meta event where we have to escort different, like, we have to defeat the Jade Armors to take over a base, and then we have to escort Dolyaks to get to the base, to supply the base, something like that, right? Like, we could be looking at something like that. We're kind of facing, so this is interesting to me, because when you, and this is something that I noticed immediately when it happened, because I think it's so in our face, but you can see the wings, right? You can see the wings on the back, and to me, it sounds like the wings were part, like, I don't know, this is really strange to me, because not every Echo has these wings. And I'm trying to think of, like, if like Manikaz's spirit has like wings and stuff like that. I mean, I can kind of look. real quick to see, because I can't remember if like Manakaz has wings or not. Because I'm trying to figure out what the rule is. Manakaz has wings on his back. It's so interesting because here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's go back to these others that we saw here. Okay, none of these have wings. Okay, when we compare this, and in the next shot either, none of these have wings. So if we compare this to Maban, who hid his wings as well, who was a friendly Mersat, this makes me think that these guys right here, these are the good Mersat. These are the ones that are not part of the team that were fighting the Flameseeker prophecies, right? Like, it sounds like these were the ones that were the friendly ones that kind of wanted to just survive in Bavanisos, and they didn't really care about the Flameseeker prophecies and all this stuff. Whereas Manakaz's group, Optimus Caliph, Lazarus, all of them, the ones with the wings, were the ones that were fighting in Flameseeker prophecies. So I think this is going to be our distinction between the different like factions of Mersat. Do they have wings? Do they not have wings? So we can kind of tell. I feel like that's what it kind of leads into. Because when the evil voice, the evil background, voice or whatever, this seems to be this evil background voice. So is that then a Mersat, right? Like, what is the part
behind every?
Yeah, we're behind every corner, and I'm getting a phone call. Wow, stop it! I don't want to answer your phone call. But yeah, so this is when the voice starts. So is this the creature talking? Is this the person talking? It's because again, like, it's so strange. How's the setup here? Are we fighting spirits of the past? Are we because this creature says behind every corner, we wait in the shadows and like all this stuff, right? And it's like, okay, well, are they still active? Are they still like, even though they're long gone, because that's obviously like a spirit or an echo or whatever, right? Are they still active? Are we fighting like spirits of the past? It's really strange to me. Like, I'm like, I don't know what's really happening. Are we talking to, is this just like story dialogue where we're kind of learning about the Mersat? Or is this, well, not really, because the spirit is actually directly talking to Scaran, saying, oh, this is who you bring into battle? Which, excuse me, we're the pack commander, okay? We're the dragon champion. We have rescued the world like 7 billion times over again. We're the best ones to take into battle, so I'm taking a little offense there, but it's fine. So interesting. But then we also have White Mantle. Looks like White Mantle followers, or maybe these are chosen, maybe these are villagers of Gavril, right? But it looks like they're ready to battle because they all have weapons. So we might be facing off against them as well, which is fine. I mean, they do look like in a way White Mantle, but like tattered rags White Mantle. White Mantle. I don't know where I got an old mantle from. Yeah, but anyway, so they're overlooking. This is the one bloodstone. Seems to be another different one, because, and this, I don't know if this is the one that we maybe see the concept art of, because this one has water all around it, and that wasn't the other one. I don't think had water all around it that we just saw in the forest. So there seems to be a lot of these, and I don't know if there's like some significance to that, because they keep showing these. I don't know if there's some kind of significance to that. And then we just see people fighting. I don't know. She looks like a bandit, but I don't know if she's supposed to be, again, White Mantle. I don't think she's White Mantle. Doesn't look like, but it looks like a bandit. Looks like a traditional bandit. Might just be a player character, that's what she looks like. Not that it's bad fashion or anything, but it looks like very, like what a human female bandit looked like. And then we have another spirit. Again, no wings, so it makes me think that maybe that's not one of the evil spirit Mersat, but one of the friendly evil spirit Mersat. It's weird that we have Spirit Mersad. It's kind of weird. But channeling the Bloodstone or something looks very reddish with like a thing around it. I don't know if there's something. What do we see in the back? I know. I want to see what's in the background. Is this in the background? What's in the background? It's like a big area AoE thing here, but it seems to be blocking something. I can't. Let me see. Is this it? Is this what's behind this person? I don't. No, that's not even the same. Like, I feel like they're obscuring something on purpose, and I'm like, "Rah! You're obscuring my view." There's a way to go frame by frame, but I don't remember how to do it. What is behind you? I can't tell. I feel like they're doing this on purpose to kind of block whatever is behind him. There seems to be something there. I don't know if that's a Titan. It's some, or is it a Jade armor? What's happening there? What is that? There's something there. Kind of watch that, you guys. See that? It's like these rocks coming off the ground. Is that a Jade armor? It might be a Jade armor. But that's a Bloodstone elemental. It looks like a Bloodstone that's channeling the powers on the ground. Again, does that mean that? But it looks like, what it looks like to me is whoever this person is. You know, there's obviously Mersat everywhere and like spirits everywhere. What the heck was that? Is that like a miniature? Like, is that, what is that? Do you guys see that? It looks like an Asuran ghost. Or is that just a person like hunched over? No, that's definitely like an Asuran ghost, spirit ghost thing. Do you guys see that? We'll watch it again. Yeah, they're kind of like levitating. I don't know why they're levitating. It's on either side. Weird. Okay. Now we have Spirit Asura here. It's weird. But anyways, it looks like this person is channeling the Bloodstone to open the path into Bavanisos. And we have to, and because of that, or maybe they're blocking the path with the Bloodstone Elemental. Maybe they're creating this barrier that's keeping us out. So then that would make him evil, though. What's the mystery? I'm trying to figure out, like, we're getting all these bits and pieces, and I'm like, I need to know. I know it's going to be another week, but shoot. I don't know if there's anything else we can discern from this. There's, what is that? 2 feet? There's 2 Bloodstone feet just sitting there. There's 2 more right there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the scene here is. Are these still evil even though they don't have wings? What's the significance of the wings is my question, I guess, is what I'm going down, like, this path, right? Like, some have wings, some don't have the wings. Manikath had the wings. This evil person that we talked to had wings, but then we see a bunch of them that don't have wings. Maybe it's a sign of like higher rank, but then again, we saw so many Mersad and Guild Wars 1 that all had wings. I don't know. It's very, very curious to me. Anyways, oh god, sorry you guys. Jeez. This looks like not a locale we've seen. And this is like a... So one thing that I've talked about a little bit as well, so right here. So one thing that I've kind of talked about is something that really kind of disappointed me a little bit with Janthir was that they talked about how the inspiration for the Warclaw line, the thing that they were doing to Warclaw, was Torrent from Elden Ring, right? Because it kind of feels that way when you like ride around or whatever on your Warclaw, that you can kind of like hop, like you do on Torrent and Elden Ring. But then the thing that really bothered me was that we didn't have Spirit Springs. So if you guys don't know what Spirit Springs are, in Elden Ring, you can have these little, they're almost like updrafts for like your sky scale when you're flying around, right? You can go on updrafts and you can fly, or even your glider and stuff, or Griffin. But they have these Spirit Springs, which are these air drafts that you can jump on Torrent, which is your mount in Elden Ring, right? And you jump up and you can jump really, really high, like depending on where they're situated. Like if it's a high cliff, it'll take you all the way up to the cliff, and it'll make you like jump all the way up. And I kind of said, I'm like, well, that would have been really cool because there's a lot of high cliffs in specifically Lowland Shore that would have been really cool to have. Like these spirit springs, right? These like updrafts on the ground that are specifically for the sky, for the Warclaw, where you can jump up a cliff with your Warclaw. So that looks like maybe this is it. Maybe this is something like, it kind of looks like that because it looks like an updrafty thing and it has some magic in there. So maybe they're including that, which would be really, really cool. I would really, really love that. It's something, like I said, I've kind of talked about that before, and I really want to see that. So again, it's a jade armor. We don't know specifically where it's spewing out green stuff, which I don't think I've ever seen them do. So there's gonna be loads of AoEs again to avoid and stuff. But it looks like it's been. I mean, this is all like group events, so it really making me think that a large portion of the map is very meta focused. Because it looks like there's a lot of large group events. Because think of when we first saw Janthir Wilds, the trailer for it. There was a lot of like story, like empty play, not empty, but in the sense where it's like just the commander and like a character from the story that's kind of sitting there looking at something, right? Here, most of the shots are group content shots, and it's in all these different locales where they're fighting different jade armors in different locations and fighting like different Mersat, like Bloodstone and Mersat spirits or whatever, right? So it's making me feel like the whole map is kind of focused on meta, right? So, anyways, we see Waiting Sorrow in combat. Iskarin is hanging out. We just get a really quick shot of that. Just she uses the elementalist like spear stuff. It looks like Iskarin has a shield. I'm trying to figure out. There's two. Do you guys see that? What is? Oh no, that's the That's one of the Titans. So this is the first. I might be wrong, but this is the first Titan, the God spawn that we Titan spawn. I'm sorry, Titan spawn that we see in the trailer. There's a portal here. The Titans seem to be completely out of the story, right? Remember, the way that the story was heading was, oh, Titans are back. We have to fight the Titans, and we kind of try to like. We try to defeat them. Ura interrupts us. Then we go back like 3 days later. We defeat them on Mount Balrior, and we talk about how the Foundry of Failed Creations, which is a part of the Realm of Torment, seems to be active again, and that's where the Titans seem to be coming from, because there's a portal in Bavanisos that leads to the Foundry of Failed Creations. So people asked me last night, are we going to see Titans again? I was like, well, I think we're going to see Titans, but I don't know if we're going to see it in this release, because we only see one Titan spawn here. And we don't see any other big Titans. We haven't seen it yet. So it kind of makes me think that maybe the next map we're going to see some Titans, because I feel like the next map is going to be how we get into the Foundry of Failed Creations, and then that's where we encounter whoever's making the Titans, maybe with other Titans. Maybe they're collecting an army, and the 3 they send out were just like a trial of like, oh yeah, I send you guys out to see how well you do, right? Like, and there could be like a whole plot happening where they're like, oh, we're just gonna stay in the Foundry of Failed Creations and just make more Titans and then build an army and then invade again, right? With more than just 3. I don't know. There could be like a whole thing where we will see, because. And I don't necessarily blame ArenaNet. I know it's been a huge point of discussion for a lot of people, but ArenaNet has been reusing a lot of assets. And I don't think I would blame them necessarily if they reuse the Titan assets. Because I don't think we only saw 3 of them. So it'd be kind of nice to see more of them. So I could kind of see those come back, as in like, we will kind of integrate that into the story, but we're kind of reusing the assets in that way, you know? So anyways, that's kind of like my theory on where the story is going to go after this map. But again, it kind of depends on, we're going to do all that theorizing once this map is out, and we're going to kind of talk about that. But I don't think we're going to see any Titans in this map. It doesn't look like it. It's all spirits echoes, whatever they are, bloodstone elementals, and jade armors that we see, right? Spirits of human and Mersat, bloodstone elementals, and jade armor. Those are the three. Like I said, we saw one Titan spawn. I haven't seen any other ones. If you guys have noticed other ones in the trailer, let me know. I haven't noticed any. But those seem to be the enemies that we're facing. So yeah, and there's these spirits here. Again, no wings on any of them. Who are they fighting? Who's in the middle? Show me the center. Scaring everything. No, I get a one tiny little Waiting Sorrow. Waiting Sorrow is in the middle. I think that's Waiting Sorrow. Is that Waiting Sorrow? Or is that Pookie? And that's Waiting Sorrow. Yeah. It's Waiting Sorrow because... Wait a minute. Wait a hot second here. I just noticed something. Hold on. Let me go back to... I gotta find where Waiting Sorrow was earlier. Or I thought was Waiting Sorrow. Was that not Waiting Sorrow earlier that I saw? That with a bright flash after this? Is that not Waiting Sorrow? Because, do you guys see that symbol there? So I noticed that symbol earlier. And that definitely is Waiting Sorrow, right? But like, do you guys see that symbol right there? Which is definitely like... Coden? I think that's very Coden related. That symbol. I don't know if it's meaning. But it's weird because when we scroll over to... Oh, I guess it's because it's low quality and dark. You can't see it. I'm like, it's not on there, but it could still be on there. I just can't see it. But it looks like Waiting Sorrow has a shield around her, shielding from the Mersat. The Mersat seem to be trying to attack Waiting Sorrow, and she has a shield around her. Again, so that would mean that these Mersat are evil too. Why don't they have wings though? Why is there only one Mersat? We've seen Manacas with wings, and we've seen this evil one that's been talking to Iskaran, I'm guessing, with wings. Why don't we see others with wings? That's really strange to me. And then we have this going on. So we go back to that scene. So there definitely is an elemental behind, because that is what, that scene where it's like behind the guy. I guess we go back to that, wherever that is. Right here, this scene. So this is this scene, right? And then we get from behind. So there is a jade armor behind that guy. That's what he's obscuring. We just get these super fast flashes. So, but then again, do you guys see? This looks like he's helping us. He's helping us against against the jade armor. Like, it doesn't look like he's controlling it. It looks like he's fighting it. So it makes me look like these guys with no wings, these Mersat with no wings, are actually friendly, and they're trying to like help us. Like, that's kind of the like feeling that I'm getting here. But then you have this guy. He doesn't have wings, and he's the guy that's trying to, like, I'm guessing, open the door, or like lower the bloodstone whatever, and he's trying to, like, I don't know, it's very mysterious. And who's this person? This is like a traditional seer from like Guild Wars 1, the way that we saw them in Guild Wars 1. Are we gonna see another seer? Like, we haven't seen any seers. A legacy damned into the Valley of Shadow. Raid Wing, Challenge Mode and Legendary Mode. Convergence Boss Update, Greer. New Mastery Track, additional homestead decorations, wizards. Yeah, that's gonna be exciting. More achievement rewards and relics. Oh, that's right, we have relics coming. We have, like, what, 6 relics coming? So there is a lot of mystery to this. I usually, when I watch these trailers, I usually always have, like, ooh, I point this out and I point that. But there is, like, so much where I'm like, I don't know. So let's kind of read about it. That's because they're giving us information on a lot of things. So let's kind of read about it. And then we can maybe do like an impression. I can do like kind of, well, maybe they're gonna hint at some of these things. So you guys saw my first impression of just watching the trailer. Now we're gonna get more information. Picking up where the Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wild story left off in Godspawn, our allies have just finished their heroic battle against the Titans atop Mount Barrior. Ura, Decima, and Greer have been defeated. But this alone has not ended the blight that looms over Janthir, and our journey is not yet done. Upon Ura's death, she claimed that the door that the Titans enter Tyria through remains open. And that's right, I didn't really talk about that. I totally even forgot that she said that. But yes, that is indeed true. And we do find out that that the portal is in Bavanisos, and that is the door that they entered from, and that is open. Which means more Titans could come through. These words rattled Isgard and Waiting Sorrow, who informed us that Mabon had cast a ward over Bavanisos, which we've known this since Secrets of the Obscure. The ruined Mersad city to hide it and its dangers from the rest of the world. But with his death, that ward fell, and somewhere inside, a mist gate sits open. When work began on Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds, we knew that we would be exploring mysteries that have been teased since the release of the original Guild Wars, which we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of this year. And there's a space before the period. So exciting, all of this, right? Like the mysteries from 20 years ago. Oh my god, it's so good. Like I said, Bavanisos was literally teased before Guild Wars 1 even came out. So it's so exciting. You guys don't understand, like, you know, many of you guys are new to the franchise. I understand that, you know, and you know, but I know there's some of you guys that are like hardcore veterans that have played since Guild Wars 1, right? And it's like, this is even before Guild Wars 1 came out. We heard about Bavanisos and we're finally going there. So awesome, so exciting. From the fall of the Mersad at the Titan's Claw to the many misdeeds of the White Mantle, these are some of Tyr's darkest, bloodiest moments. Now you and your allies must venture further into the Isles of Janthir to reveal these long-forgotten histories. Maybe with this knowledge we can cleanse Janthir once and for all. Alright, so our goal is to technically cleanse Janthir of all the evil and the darkness and the magics and the whatever, right? We've traveled from the comforts of home and lowland shore into the stormy, damp woods of Janthir Sintry. Now we must sail to the ruined home of the Mersad to figure out what Ura warned us of, starting just outside of Bavanisos in Mistburned Barrens. So we get some images. It's a beautiful map. What I love about the map is you can see the different like colorations. I talk about this a lot when I play my Guild Wars 1 playthrough, when I do the Guild Wars 1 stuff, because ArenaNet does this really cool stuff, and they kind of do it in Guild Wars 2 as well, but they do it more, it's more prominent in Guild Wars 1, where like you'll go from one area to another, and all of a sudden the screen darkens, or like the skybox changes. It changes from like a blue to like a crazy red or something, right? And you get this whole like, whoa, okay, like change of scenery. And like right, and I love this because right here they do it, and it obviously did on purpose. But you have like this kind of calm blue, you know, blue and green ruins, mysterious ruins, right? You kind of like you see a lone soldier kind of hanging out, kind of like exploring with his warclaw, looking around, kind of seeing what's up, you know, whatever. And then you get this like this yellow greenish, which kind of tells you like, ooh, there's more activity like, right? Because there's a little bit of like cinematography kind of going on, because you come from this darker space. Again, there's a lot of blue here still, blue and green and gray, and you go into this like yellow orange, like orange further down there because of that torch and stuff, like green, orange, yellow, right? It becomes a little brighter, so you're kind of like going towards where the activity is, right? You're kind of going from these dreary, dark, damp woods into this like, ooh, the ruins where there's something happening, right? To this, which is like bloodstone and magic, and like, okay, this is where the activity is, right? This is where the spirits are. This is where the meta takes place, right? You have all this like magic and like all this stuff going on. It's really, really cool. I love this so much. It's great. And I love that the map has these different like feelings. It's very immersive. It's very like adventure-y. It's very it's really cool. I love it. I love this. Especially this right here is like so cool to me. I'm like, yeah, I want to be there right now. I get to be there in 7 days, but not right now. Mistburned Barrens. As the Tyrian Alliance sets out to explore the ruins of Bavanisos, they face a uniquely hazardous environment. Even though hundreds of years have passed since the door of Kamali was opened, the Barrens are still fraught with the remains of Mersad experience and spectral remains of the Mersad experience in spectral agony and long saturated with in spectral agony. I love that they are using it as in like, you know, the The remains of the Masada experiments, like, they can still be in agony, but they're specifically calling it in spectral agony. And long saturated with bloodstone magic and mistburn. Mistburn has been this really, and I haven't really talked about it because it's been this mysterious thing that they talk about, where it's like the mistburn is kind of like taking over the creatures of the wild and stuff, but they've never given us an explanation as to what's really happening. And they're saying it's coming from Bavanisos, right? Like, the tides roll in. They kind of talk about this in Janthir Century, you know, when like Greer and Decima come out, it's because the mistburn tides are coming in, and it's kind of like making the wildlife crazy and stuff. And we don't really know what that means, right? We've never gotten an explanation, and no one has really in the story talked about like what specifically that means. But it seems to be something that's kind of like this influence, obviously from the mists, I'm guessing. Like, there's something like happening where the magic is like influencing the world or whatever, and it's probably because of this portal that's opened into the mists or something like that, you know. But it's really interesting that they talk about spectral agony here. The ghosts of the Mersat and their victims cling to the land, forever haunting this cursed place. So obviously we saw that in the trailer. To safely explore this grim landscape, the Tyrian Alliance has put together survey parties to unravel the mysteries buried within the crumbling corridors. Players will be able to participate in 3 unique surveys from the base camp at the ruins' mouths. So we've been kind of watching this in the trailer. I guess you can pick out, if I think about the trailer now, you can probably pick out 3 specific like biomes and like 3 specific paths going into the Mistburn Barrens, right? And I guess I'm guessing it's probably, what I'm guessing is close to Dragonfall. If you remember, Dragonfall kind of has the same thing. You have like a base camp, and then it spreads out into 3 different things. You can go to like the fire forest area, you can go to the like underworld area, or you can go to like the Melandri, the nature one, right? That's like south. So you kind of have like different options you can pick, and that seems to be the same, right? So right here it actually explains it. To the north, players will reactivate an enormous dormant construct and use it to cross a spectral agony flooded valley. Interesting. Okay, dormant construct, like a jade armor, or is it like a statue, or like what's going on there? That's kind of cool. In the center, players will utilize Assyrian golems to delve into an ancient library. You kidding? That's where I'm going. I don't care about your construct. First one I'm going into, ancient library. That's my calling right there. And investigate the mistburn that has spread across the Alps. Yes, that's what I want to do right there. Oh my god. Players in the south will lead a procession of Tyrian Alliance members into a laboratory. If you're from England, you call it laboratory. Laboratory, once utilized for bloodstone sacrifices and experimentation. Oh, also good. I'm obviously gonna explore all of it with you guys on I'm just so you guys know, I will be streaming this next week. Yeah, I'm gonna obviously explore all of these things. I wanna find all the things, you guys. It's gonna happen. But yeah, obviously the center one is like the go-to first, and then I'm gonna do that one, and then I'm gonna do that one. So from it to just blah, 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 let's try that sentence again. From a design perspective, our goal is to ensure that anytime a player enters the map, there are rewarding, structured events that you can jump right into. Now, to investigate the buzzing sound that scouts have reported emanating from the woods. The buzzing sound. This is the concept art, right? The buzzing sounds we've been hearing from the woods. What is this hint? Oh, ArenaNet, this is great. You can't leave us like that. Oh, I mean, they can't. Obviously, I'm very excited about that. Investigate the buzzing sound that scouts have reported emanating from the woods. Interesting. Anyways. New arrivals. Next week's Repentance update brings several exciting additions to Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds, including the highly anticipated challenge mode for the Mount Belrior raid. If you've been searching for your next raid challenge, this is your chance to join the race for a world-first completion, as guilds push the limits of coordination, strategy, and execution. And for those seeking the ultimate trial, the final boss, Aura, will be available as a legendary mode encounter on March 25th. We plan to stagger the release of challenge mode and legendary mode releases like this going forward to give ourselves an opportunity to address and counterbalance concerns before the legendary mode is released. And I'm totally okay with that. I think most people will be okay as well. Waiting 2 weeks, I don't think that's a huge, like, if there were to be like in 3 months we'll give you that, I think people would be mad, right? But I think 2 weeks, I think that's totally fine. I think people would be totally okay, because I think most of those people really want to go in and have the legendary mode be like a solid challenge and not be buggy, not have like some weird mechanics in there that are just like really dumb, that people don't like, that are really hard to overcome, where you have to like do some weird stuff, right? People want to have like a really good solid challenge, and I really like that they're saying like, boom, the legendary mode, we're gonna give ourselves 2 weeks, we're gonna see how the reception is for the challenge mode, right? And then we're gonna see where we're gonna fine tune all of that, and then we're gonna do a legendary mode encounter with Ura. So I think that's gonna be really, really cool. And I love that there's 2 weeks. Again, it kind of gives us replayability, gives us a little bit of like longevity to the release as well, a little bit. You know, not that everyone jumps. Like, I think if everything would be released next week, then by the week after that, everyone would already moved on, right? But I think like next week comes out, people play it for a week, and then maybe take like a couple days break, and then go back into like practicing a little bit, and then the 25th the release comes out, and then a whole nother week of like people like getting in there and doing this stuff, right? So you kind of get longevity out of this release. You get like a whole month out of this, where people are like really trying to do their best to like, you know. So I like this a lot. I think this is a great way to tackle that. Greer the Blightbringer will also make his debut in the Mount Belrior Convergence, which will add variation to the final boss you encounter there. Finally, we needed something different, because Decima is just, I think I've done the Convergence 3 times, because I'm like, this is the same thing every time, and it's super easy, and it's not even like, it's not that I'm looking for heart, but I'm looking for variation, right? So I like that. Expect familiar mechanics executed in new, unpredictable ways that will keep your group on their toes. What is this? That's a seer. Guys, is that a headless seer? It looks like a headless seer. These all look like, no, this is like a bent over. These are like, oh, I see it now. Okay, the perspective was strange. These are all seers, you guys. You're all like, meh. They're sad. They're like, we lost the battle. That's what they look like. They're all sad seers here. Okay, we haven't seen those in the trailer. And it looks like there's like water coming down. So I'm guessing like Bavanisos is back there. It looks like this is part of like a pillar or something. I think there's a pillar here that I can kind of make out. But these are seer. So we see seer spirits. So this is from the like, from the Seer Mersad Wars from like a long ago. So we're kind of talking like past Guild Wars 1, beyond, you know, before Guild Wars 1 kind of thing. So interesting. Ooh, okay. I see narrative team blog. With the addition is that, okay. With the addition of a new map and story chapters, we're introducing the Mersad Shadowcraft Mastery Track. For lore enthusiasts, we recently explored Mersad history and its ties to in a narrative. Oh, okay. They're just talking about the blog they did. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah. So that was really good. I mean, for us lore people, like I said, and that blog post was written beautifully. It was it was written really great, because they touched on all these things, and then they summarized all the different things they touched on in a way that they like summarized it in a way where it's like talks about all the different things, but like how is it relevant to the current story, which was really, really good. If you're curious about the origin of the Mersad, this deep dive will provide insight into their lore. Yeah, so if you guys haven't read that, you can go read that narrative team blog, the post there, and or watch my video, whatever you want to do. You know, it's like, it's 10 minutes of reading, or you can watch my hour and 20 minutes video. So you have options. New relics will also be available to further customize your builds. If you've missed our recent developer stream, the balance team showcased some of these new relics. I didn't catch those, so I don't. Or I mean, I watched the showcase, but I guess I didn't. I think they showed them at the end, and I was already like, whatever, bye. And of course, a new release means new rewards, including updates to the Wizard's Vault and Twitch drops. Stay tuned for next week's blog post. So I'm not on Twitch, as you guys know. So I know many people are going to be going over there, which is totally fine. World versus World. All right, World vs. World update. In the March 11 update, we're introducing a long-awaited quality of life improvement aimed at improving the visibility of World vs. World guild membership. A new column in the guild panel's second tab will display an icon next to all members who have designated that guild as their World vs. World guild. So that's nice. That kind of aims towards getting people to play together, specifically guild. I think having World vs. World become like a guild versus guild thing is kind of like a great idea. I really want them to kind of go that way, because it's a way. I know that there's probably people that are like really good counter arguments, and I'm not saying that they're bad counter arguments, but there's probably some really good counter arguments to that. But my thing is that, like, you know, for a game called Guild Wars, we don't have anything that's guild versus guild, and I guess World versus World is like the next best thing, where you can have all of your guildmates like fight other guilds, you know, in World versus World. So kind of going down that path would be really cool. You know, so I don't know. I think that's nice. However, this information will only be visible within the guild you have personally selected as your World vs. World guild. Okay, interesting. So, looking ahead to the March 25 update, the World vs. World team is focused on refining the World vs. World rewards system, tackling performance issues, and implementing adjustments based on player feedback, along with other quality of life improvements. Several key changes are on the Ryzen, including consolidating of reward tracks to enhance accessibility. So that was a huge thing that I talked about the other day. I literally was like, oh my god, why are my rewards across like three, like, cause you have like your rank and like the abilities that you have on your ranking thing on one tab, and then you have your like your reward track on another tab, and then you have your the pips thing, right? The chests that you get or whatever, the other ones. You have those like on another tab, and it's just like everything is all over in different tabs, and it's all very confusing. So I like that they're kind of like looking into like changing, maybe like make it not even enhance accessibility, but also like make it more organized, and like give me an overview quicker, where I just open one page and I don't have to flip through while I'm trying to do, you know, different things or whatever. So I like that. Improved map currency acquisition via reward tracks. So map currency is very important, I guess, for people to earn. I don't know, through via reward tracks. So we're looking at changes to reward tracks, I guess. Addition of a brand new World vs. World weapon set. Always nice to see new specific weapon sets for World vs. World, or any specific sets for World vs. World. It's always nice to have exclusive rewards for specific modes. I like that. New restrictions on Tactivator use for Keeps and Stonemist Castle. New restrictions. Does that mean... What does that mean? Only specific people can use it? Or is it only like... Gonna be interesting to see. Is it only gonna be like guild members that have claimed Keeps and that Stonemist Castle that can use the Tactivators? That would be kind of strange, right? Tuning the health pools of Keep Lords, meaning hopefully lowering them, because they've upped them so much to the point where smaller groups have a really hard time now capturing Keeps and stuff like that. Updating victory points and skirmish values, refining how progress and success are measured in World vs. World. So this is really nice. I always like these little updates to kind of keep it, you know, a little bit, you know, how the progress is between different skirmishes and stuff like that. You know, always updating World vs. World, and like doing these little quality of life changes and stuff is always nice. I do like that. Oh yeah, Push. I have never played Push. Let's talk about that. Late last year, we ran the first beta event for the new Push PvP game mode, giving players a glimpse into our development process and an opportunity to provide feedback on our prototype. The event was well received, generating a wealth of player feedback through participant surveys. Okay, good. I'm glad that a wealth of player feedback has been received. Since then, we've been working on updates to refine the mode based on that input. We're excited to announce that another beta event is planned from May 20 to 26, giving players another chance to experience the mode and share their thoughts. We'll reveal more details. So I'll have to look to see if I'll play it this time around. I didn't play the push game mode at all when they did the first beta. But I would like to kind of jump into it, kind of see, at least try it out or whatever. So, Guild Wars 2 in the spring. While Repentance is only a week away, several festivals and bonus events are happening before the launch of our third Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds update later this year. Right. Okay, take a look at what is coming. Okay. So, Repentance is coming out in March. Raid update or legendary mode and the World vs. World quality update coming on the same day, right? So this is happening a week from now. This is happening 3 weeks from now. And then we're doing, in April, we're doing Dungeon Rush. Super Adventure Box is coming back. Super Adventure Festival. Skills and Balance. We have another Skills and Balance update. No Downstate Week. That's super interesting. It's always fun to kind of see that. I definitely want to participate in that. And Dungeon Rush, which is always nice to see dungeons be played. Dungeons. I think dungeons are pretty solid. They're pretty solid, like, for newer players to kind of learn a little bit about, like, team play and stuff, because they're, like, power creep has kind of taken over the game for, like, for this older content, right? But I think it's a great introduction to kind of like fractals and stuff like that to do some of these dungeons. So it's kind of nice. Return to End of Dragons event, Roller Beetle Racing Week. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if we've seen that before, but that's gonna be fun. I would love to see more races be added in the game in general. And then the push beta. So that's in May. So there you guys go. For the next 3 months, we have content coming out. I like this. I like that we get a little overview. And this looks very well saturated. I think I always talk about how, like, sometimes they have one thing in April and it's like Super Adventure Box. And it's like, that's all we're getting in April. That's kind of it. Okay, cool. We've done Super Adventure Box like for the last like 12 years. So kind of like, but this is nice. This looks like there's a lot of different things happening, a lot of things for everyone, right? We have like PvP here, we have some World vs. World stuff, World vs. World quality stuff, some dungeon stuff, festival stuff, skills and balances, meaning, it kind of changes for everyone a little bit, more PvE stuff. So I like this. This is great. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. We've read all of this. Skills and balance update is April 15th. So look forward to that. Because that's always exciting. I wonder how much they're going to change this time around. And then Return to End of Dragons, Roller Beetle, Racing, blah, 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 blah. And finally, as a reminder of what's still to come in Guild Wars 2 during the final 2 updates, we have this handy content chart. So this is what they originally have given us. We are not getting a new roadmap. I thought we were going to get a new roadmap, but we're not getting that until the end of this one, right? So to just kind of give you an update again, we're getting the 12 core relics this time around, right? We're doing update 2 right now. So we're getting the map, we're getting the raid challenge mode, legendary mode, we're getting decorations, we're getting 12 core relics, which is really, really nice because I don't know, is it really nice? I'm really torn because I really feel like the relics fell into what the sigils and the runes fell into, where we have 17 billion sets and whatever, and only 4 or 5 of them are actually being used, right? Like, where maybe there's another 4 5 sets that are like very niche and like very specific content or very specific roles in a very specific mode or something like that. I try to play around with them as much as I can, specifically the relics, but there's just there's so many that are just like garbage, and there's very specific ones that are just straight up better than like other choices. You're losing out if you're picking certain ones, and it's painfully obvious. It's not that they're very competitive, and that's the thing. I've been wanting to have ArenaNet look at the rune set before they made the relics. I wanted ArenaNet, like, please look at the rune sets that you have in game, right? Because so many people are asking, like, oh, we're not getting new runes with the elite specializations, and we're not getting new rune sets. I'm like, we don't need new rune sets. What we need is the old rune sets that no one uses and remake them, right? And then they did the relics thing, and I'm like, okay, maybe that means we're going to go into, like, they're going to update. But what they literally did is they took all the 6 part of the rune set out of it and made it into relics, and then gave the sixth slot on many of the rune sets some random stat that doesn't even do anything, making those rune sets even worse. So instead of fixing the problem, they've made the rune set problem even worse, where there's so many rune sets where you have like power precision, power precision, power precision, like for 5 levels, and then the sixth one is like vitality, and it's like, no one's gonna use that. No one is gonna use that. Like, it's just, I don't know. I really would love to see that whole part of the game, the rune sigils and relics, kind of seen overview, but they're just crapping out more relics that many of, I know that in these core relics, I do remember now that we talked about this a little bit, but we're getting back our summons, right? Like the bird summon and the golem and the rock dog and all these things, right? Which is nice. I do miss those and I like them, and I'm probably going to use it and stuff on some, but in the more competitive part of the game, these aren't really probably gonna make a huge change, I don't think. Again, I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not, whatever. It's just a wish that I have for the game to kind of bring that forward a little bit, So, but anyways, and then we get master updates. We get 1 armor set, 1 weapon set, the vault seasonal refresh, and more. And stay tuned to our social media for more information regarding Repentance, and we'll be back next week with a launch blog covering the main features and rewards. All right, so there you go, you guys. This is it. So it looks Miss Baron Burn, or Miss what is it? Miss Burn Barons? Jesus, I'm like blah 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 blah. It looks really cool. I mean, it looks like a super cool map. I really love the old like ruined structures, exploring those. So I'm a huge fan of that type of thing. Like I like dungeon delving. I like the like, I'm like, if I were to be in Tyria, I would 100% be a part of the like Dermot Priory, because that's the type of stuff that I like to do, like exploring old tombs and like finding these old secrets and whatever. That's really really cool. So this map like speaks to me on that level. We'll really have to see how the meta event works out, and how like they want people to like, anytime you jump in, we want you to have like events that you can do, which is really really cool. But it really like, is it gonna be meta focused, or is it, like I said, more of like you don't necessarily have to do these events, you can still go around and do your own thing, and do events in other parts of the map, and not necessarily have to do, like, is it all bound to the meta event? Because that's the thing, I talked about this before too, like I want a map that's more like Tarrier, right? Where there's like one centered meta event and you have like events surrounding that and like kind of leading up to that. But I also want you to be able to go around the map and do different events around the map that are not necessarily tied to the meta event, that kind of give you the option of kind of exploring the game and not have to be in a party to do this, and not have to have a tag and stuff like that on the map and stuff like that. So, but anyways, we've been going on for a very long time. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to hang out, again, like I said, I'm going to be live later on tonight on the channel. I will be live next week. I'll be playing the content. I don't know what time. I'll probably be like in the afternoon sometime. I know many people are going to go to Twitch to get the rewards. I totally get it. But if you are interested in watching, all of my streams are on the live tab on my channel. So you can watch all my past streams and stuff like that. They're all posted on there and you guys can watch it. And but yeah, I'm very excited for this. I'm loving the focus on the Mersat and the so now I'm realizing this is the scene we just watched. There's this right here is this right here. You can clearly see it. This is that exact scene. Interesting. So there you go. There's that. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully in some of my live streams or in the next video. All right, bye guys.